Have you ever felt like your relationship is slipping through your fingers, and no matter what you do, you can't seem to fix it? That gut-wrenching feeling of losing someone's interest is enough to make anyone feel desperate, confused, and even helpless. You try harder, invest more energy, and maybe even convince yourself that you just need to prove your worth to win her back. But here's the hard truth. Most of what you think will work actually pushes her further away. It's counterintuitive, but your instincts in these moments, texting more, explaining yourself, chasing her attention, are often the exact things that make her lose interest faster. Why? Because these actions often come from a place of insecurity. And whether you realize it or not, women are incredibly perceptive. They can sense desperation even when you think you're hiding it well. We've all been taught that if someone pulls away, the solution is to lean in, show more affection, and work harder to prove our value. But in relationships, especially romantic ones, this approach usually backfires. When a woman feels like she's in control and you're chasing her, her interest often plummets. It's an unfair game, but it's very real. The more you push, the more she pulls away. So how do you turn the tide? If you're in a situation where you feel like she's losing interest, you're at a critical point. What you do next can either reinforce her decision to move on or make her rethink her choices. And here's the good news. The power is in your hands. It's all about understanding what not to do and how to shift the dynamic in your favor. In this video, I'm going to take you through the 5 key mistakes men make when trying to win back a woman's interest. These are mistakes that, while easy to fall into, can push her further away if you're not careful. But if you avoid them, you might just find her looking at you in a whole new light. So, if you're ready to step into your power, stand tall, and show her you're not just any guy who can be taken for granted, let's dive right in. And trust me, the last mistake on this list is the one most men never realize they're making, but it changes everything. Mistake 1. Chasing her when she pulls away. When a woman starts to lose interest, it's natural for most men to panic and try harder. They text more, call more, and go out of their way to show affection. It feels like the logical thing to do. If she seems distant, why not remind her how much she means to you? But here's the harsh reality. Chasing her when she's pulling away usually has the opposite effect. Think about it. When someone becomes distant and you respond by overwhelming them with attention, it doesn't reignite their interest. Instead, it reinforces their need for space. To her, your actions can feel smothering, even desperate. And desperation is one of the biggest turnoffs in any relationship. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a man notices his girlfriend becoming distant. She's less responsive, she seems distracted, and her energy just isn't the same. He panics and starts texting her constantly, asking if she's okay, planning surprise visits, and showering her with compliments. From his perspective, he's showing her love and commitment. But from her perspective, it feels like too much. Instead of pulling her closer, he's pushing her further away. Why does this happen? It's all about perception. People value what they have to work for, and when you're constantly available and seeking her attention, she doesn't have to put in any effort. You're showing her that your world revolves around her, and while that might sound romantic, it can actually make you seem less attractive. Relationships thrive on balance, and if she feels like you're doing all the chasing, she may start to lose respect for you. So, what should you do instead? The answer is simple but powerful. Stop chasing. Pull back, and give her the space she's already seeking. Show her that you're secure enough to let things unfold naturally. When you do this, a few important things happen. First, she gets the room to miss you. Absence can reignite curiosity and attraction. Second, you show her that you're confident and have a life outside of the relationship. This signals independence, which is incredibly attractive. Now, this doesn't mean playing games or ignoring her. It means being mindful of your energy and not over-investing in a situation where she's already pulling back. Focus on yourself. Spend time with friends, pursue hobbies, and invest in personal growth. When she sees that you're thriving without her constant attention, she may begin to wonder what you're up to and why you're not chasing her anymore. In short, chasing her when she pulls away is like pouring water on a drowning fire. It extinguishes the flame instead of reigniting it. By stepping back, You give her the space to realize what she might lose, and that realization is far more powerful than any text, call, or gesture you could make. Key takeaway: pulling back is not about giving up. It's about respecting yourself and creating the space for her to reevaluate her feelings. Confidence and restraint are far more effective than chasing her endlessly. Mistake 2: overexplaining yourself. When a woman starts to pull away, many men fall into the trap of overexplaining. They feel an overwhelming need to justify their actions, clarify their intentions, or prove how much they care. It seems like a logical move. If she just understood why you acted a certain way or how much she means to you, wouldn't she come back? Unfortunately, this approach rarely works. In fact, it often makes things worse. Here's the problem: over-explaining comes across as insecure. It sends a subtle message that you're seeking her validation or approval, which can be a major turnoff. Women are naturally drawn to men who are confident and grounded in their decisions. When you constantly explain yourself, you're showing her that you're unsure of your actions or that you're afraid of losing her. Let's break it down with an example. Imagine a man senses his girlfriend pulling away. He notices she's quieter or less affectionate, so he starts saying things like, "I know I've been busy, but I really care about you. I just want you to understand where I'm coming from. I didn't mean to hurt you. Let me explain why I acted that way." While his intentions may be good, these explanations often feel like pleas for reassurance. Instead of coming across as strong and secure, he's positioning himself as someone who's desperate to be understood. Over time, this dynamic erodes her respect and attraction because she no longer sees him as the confident, self-assured person she was initially drawn to. So what's the alternative? The key is to let your actions speak louder than your words. Instead of explaining yourself repeatedly, focus on showing her through your behavior that you're grounded, respectful, and confident. For example, if you've been busy, don't apologize excessively. Just make an effort to spend quality time with her without drawing attention to it. If you've made a mistake, acknowledge it briefly, but don't dwell on it. A simple, sincere apology followed by meaningful change is far more effective than a long-winded explanation. Another important point is to understand that her loss of interest may not even be about you. Often, when a woman pulls away, it's due to emotional factors she may not even fully understand herself. Trying to intellectualize or explain her feelings is a losing battle. Attraction and connection are emotional processes, not logical ones. By stepping back and letting her process things on her own, you give her the space to reconnect with her feelings. You also show her that you're confident enough to let the relationship unfold naturally without forcing the narrative. Here's the bottom line: over-explaining is an attempt to control the situation, but real strength lies in letting go of that need for control. When you stand by your decisions and actions without constantly justifying them, you project confidence and self-assurance, two qualities that are inherently attractive. Key takeaway: the less you explain, the more room you leave for her to interpret your actions in a positive light. Confidence isn't about saying the right things. It's about standing firm in your actions and letting them speak for themselves. Mistake 3: overvalidating her. When a woman starts pulling away, it's tempting to shower her with compliments, reassurance, and validation in an attempt to win her back. You tell her she's beautiful, amazing, and perfect. Anything to remind her how special she is. At first glance, this might seem like the right move. After all, who doesn't like being appreciated? But here's the twist: overvalidating her doesn't bring her closer. It often drives her further away. Why? Because constant validation can feel insincere or even desperate. It shifts the dynamic in the relationship, making her the prize and you the one seeking approval. This imbalance can quickly erode her attraction and respect for you. Think of it this way: when compliments are handed out too freely, they lose their meaning. Imagine someone telling you, "You're amazing," every 5 minutes. At first, it might feel flattering, but over time, it starts to feel hollow. Instead of making her feel appreciated, your constant praise can make her question your sincerity. Or worse, take your admiration for granted. Let's consider an example. A man notices his girlfriend becoming distant. In response, he starts overcompensating with validation. "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're perfect in every way. What happens next? She doesn't feel closer to him. Instead, she feels overwhelmed, maybe even smothered. Over time, this behavior can create a dynamic where she feels like she's on a pedestal, a position that might sound appealing, but in reality, it can be isolating and unbalanced. So what should you do instead? The answer lies in balanced validation. Compliments and reassurance are important in any relationship, but they need to feel genuine and meaningful. Here's how to strike the right balance. Quality over quantity. Instead of complimenting her constantly, choose moments when your words carry the most weight. For example, acknowledge her achievements or efforts in a specific and thoughtful way. I really admire how hard you've been working on that project. It's inspiring to see your dedication. Be authentic. Only say what you truly mean. Empty praise can come across as manipulative or calculated. Authenticity is always more powerful than flattery. Focus on yourself. Remember, validation isn't just about her. When you're confident in who you are, your appreciation comes from a place of strength, not neediness. It's also crucial to understand that over-validating her can signal a lack of self-worth on your part. If you're constantly praising her, it can give the impression that you don't see your own value and are relying on her to validate you in return. Women are naturally drawn to men who have a strong sense of self, men who don't need constant feedback or reassurance to feel good about themselves. By holding back on excessive praise, you create space for her to earn your admiration in meaningful ways. This subtle shift can reignite the mystery and excitement in your relationship. When she knows your compliments are rare but genuine, they carry more impact. Here's the truth. True validation comes from balanced, thoughtful appreciation, not constant affirmations. When you respect yourself and maintain a sense of independence, your admiration feels more authentic, and she'll value it even more. Key takeaway: over-validating her can diminish your self-respect and her attraction. Instead, focus on balanced, genuine appreciation that comes from a place of confidence and authenticity. Less can truly be more. Mistake 4. Being overly available. When you sense a woman pulling away, your first instinct might be to make yourself more available. You respond to her texts immediately, pick up her calls at any hour, and drop everything to be there for her. It feels like the right thing to do, show her you care, right? But this well-intentioned behavior often sends the wrong message. Here's the hard truth. Being overly available can make you seem too eager, even desperate. It signals to her that you have nothing else going on in your life, that your world revolves around her. While this might sound romantic in theory, in practice, it can be a major turnoff. Let's look at why this happens. Relationships thrive on balance, independence, and mutual respect. When you're always available, you remove any sense of anticipation or mystery. She knows you'll always be there, no matter what, and that predictability can make the relationship feel stagnant. Worse, it can make her take you for granted. Imagine a scenario. A man notices his girlfriend becoming distant. In response, he makes himself completely accessible. Every time she calls, he answers on the first ring. Every time she texts, he replies within seconds. He cancels plans with friends to spend time with her and rearranges his schedule to match hers. From his perspective, he's being a devoted partner. But from her perspective, it starts to feel overwhelming. She begins to sense that he has no boundaries or life outside of their relationship. This lack of independence can make her feel trapped or even burdened by his constant availability. So, what should you do instead? The solution lies in creating balance and prioritizing your own life. Set boundaries. This doesn't mean playing hard to get, but it does mean valuing your time and energy. If you're busy with work, hobbies, or friends, don't drop everything immediately just because she reaches out. Let her see that you have a full, meaningful life outside of the relationship. Be intentional with your time. When you do spend time with her, make it meaningful and focused. Quality always trumps quantity. She'll appreciate the effort you put into your shared moments more if she sees that your time is valuable. Maintain your independence. Pursue your goals, hobbies, and interests. This not only makes you more attractive, but it also helps you grow as a person. A man who is driven and focused on his own life is far more intriguing than someone who is always available at a moment's notice. It's also worth mentioning that being overly available can erode your own self-worth. If you're constantly putting her needs and desires above your own, it sends a message to her and to yourself that your value comes from how much you give to the relationship. This mindset is unhealthy and unsustainable. By creating a healthy level of independence, you shift the dynamic in your favor. She'll start to see you as someone who is confident, self-sufficient, and worth investing in. When she knows you're not just waiting around for her, it creates a sense of intrigue and excitement. Here's the truth. Availability isn't about ignoring her or playing games. It's about showing her that while you care deeply, you also have a rich, fulfilling life of your own. That balance is what keeps relationships fresh and engaging. Key takeaway: stop being overly available. Value your own time and energy, and she'll begin to value them too. Independence isn't just attractive, it's essential for a healthy, balanced relationship. Mistake 5. Begging or pleading. One of the quickest ways to lose respect and attraction in a relationship is to beg or plead when a woman starts pulling away. It's a natural reaction. When emotions run high, you want to pour your heart out and make her see how much she means to you. But here's the harsh reality. Pleading doesn't reignite attraction. It does the opposite. When you beg or plead, you send a clear message. You're willing to sacrifice your dignity, self-worth, and emotional strength just to keep her around. While this might seem like a heartfelt gesture, it actually undermines the qualities that made her attracted to you in the first place. Confidence, independence, and emotional stability are all diminished when you resort to desperation. Let's break it down. Imagine a man who senses his girlfriend pulling away. Instead of giving her space or reflecting on the situation, he starts saying things like, "Please don't leave me. I can't live without you. I'll do anything to fix this. Just tell me what you need. I'm sorry for everything. I'll change, I promise." From his perspective, he's showing her how much he cares. But from her perspective, he's displaying a lack of confidence and emotional strength. No matter how much she once cared for him, this kind of behavior makes it difficult for her to see him as the self-assured, capable person she was initially drawn to. Why does begging fail? It's because it shifts the power dynamic in the relationship. When you beg, you're putting her in control. She becomes the decision maker, while you're left waiting for her approval. This imbalance is not only exhausting for her, but it's also demoralizing for you. Over time, it erodes the mutual respect that is critical for any healthy relationship. So, what's the alternative? The answer lies in reclaiming your self-respect and focusing on what you can control, your own actions and mindset. Here's how to do it. Stop chasing approval. Remind yourself that your worth isn't dependent on her decision to stay or leave. You are valuable, with or without her validation. Set boundaries. If she's pulling away, give her the space she needs. This doesn't mean giving up, but it does mean refusing to compromise your self-respect by begging her to stay. Focus on your growth. Use this time to invest in yourself. Pursue your goals, hobbies, and passions. When you're thriving as an individual, you'll naturally exude the confidence and independence that rekindle attraction. It's also important to recognize that begging rarely changes her feelings. Attraction and connection are driven by emotions, not logic. Pleading with her to reconsider won't spark the kind of emotional shift that brings her back. Instead, it often reinforces her decision to pull away. Here's the empowering truth. By standing strong and maintaining your self-respect, you show her and yourself that you're capable of moving forward with or without her. This isn't about being cold or indifferent. It's about showing that you value yourself enough to walk away from a situation where you're not being valued. And here's the kicker. When you stop begging and focus on yourself, you often create the space for her to reflect on what she might lose. People are naturally drawn to those who respect themselves and project confidence. By refusing to beg, you set a boundary that communicates strength, resilience, and independence, all qualities that can reignite her interest. Key takeaway: begging or pleading will never win her back. Confidence and self-respect are your greatest assets. When you hold on to your dignity, you not only preserve your self-worth, but also give her a reason to see you in a new light. Now that we've uncovered the 5 key mistakes that push her further away: chasing, overexplaining, overvalidating, being overly available, and begging. It's clear that the solution to reigniting her interest doesn't lie in trying harder. Instead, it lies in stepping back, reclaiming your confidence, and focusing on yourself. Here's the truth. Relationships thrive when both partners respect each other and themselves. When you allow desperation, insecurity, or neediness to take over, it undermines the very foundation of attraction and connection. But when you shift your focus to your own growth, independence, and emotional strength, you send a powerful message. I know my worth. This isn't about playing games or manipulating her feelings. It's about showing her that you're someone who respects boundaries, values yourself, and understands the importance of balance in a relationship. When you embody these qualities, you become someone worth investing in. Remember, your value doesn't depend on someone else's attention or affection. You are enough as you are. Confidence, self-respect, and independence aren't just attractive traits. They're essential for a fulfilling, healthy relationship. When you hold on to these principles, you not only improve your chances of reigniting her interest, but also build the kind of self-assurance that carries into every aspect of your life. Now let me ask you, have you ever found yourself making one of these mistakes? What steps are you taking to change the dynamic in your relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your story and help you navigate these challenges. And if you're ready to dive deeper into building stronger, healthier connections, don't miss my next video, where we explore how to master communication and emotional intelligence in relationships. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's take this journey together.